Hello everyone, my name is William and today we're gonna do a modding tutorial. So today we're gonna make a building. So I've got everything here. So I've got the texture and the FPX. So I've got that on my desktop right now and I want to import that in Unity. So if we check on top of the Unity right here, um, we can actually like see. So this is the YouTube project we created last episode. So here what we're gonna do is we're gonna select both of these. I'm gonna cut them. I'm gonna go in my YouTube folder here, which is where the project is in, and in assets. And then I'm gonna just paste them in here, and then I'm not gonna need this anymore. Just close it. Now if I go in Unity, it's gonna import everything. So right here, so it should create a bunch of stuff in here. So there should be the model and everything in here. So let's just disable this, and there's going to be the texture we have right here. Just want to make sure it's all set up properly. So you can pause the video and check the settings I have right over here. This is what it should be set on. So now I can drag this in here. You can zoom out. So what we got here in the tutorial is we got three different stuff. We've got the model 0 here, the model 1, and the Skybox, which we don't need at the moment, so we can just disable it. So what we're left with is the model 0 and the model 1. If we disable this, we're left with the model 0, which is basically this. And if we had model 1, we got the frames in here. So I've added everything. So we've got a garage frame, a door frame, a window, and a hole with we can put a layer in it. So your texture might not be applied on it automatically, but what you could do would be you can drag your texture on one of these, and it's gonna create a material in here that I'm just gonna drag in the assets folder and delete this. So we've got this material right here that we can just drag on smoothness, otherwise the building is gonna be shiny, so we can see on this face right here. So we want it to be completely like that. Then we could go in here and set it as the default material, but we don't need to do that. So what we're gonna do first is we're gonna just unpack the prefab and just drag this in. We don't need this, it's gonna be useless for us. So we've got these two things right here and the skybox. So now what I want to do is go in the folders we have here. So first of all, we're gonna create a new folder that we're gonna call tutorial, which is gonna be used for the Masterbundle tutorial. And then in here, I'm gonna create bundles, and then I'm gonna put it the YouTube here. Oops, right there. So now I'll go in core Masterbundle example right here, and then objects, large, and buildings. So we got a bunch of example buildings. So the one that's gonna suit the best what we need to copy for this thing right here is the fire station. So what we can do is show an explorer right here. So we got a fire 0 and just select everything here, copy it, go back in the assets, tutorial, bonus, and YouTube, and just paste it. And then you can close this right here. You can clear the console because we don't care what it says. And then if we go back in here, we have all of this stuff, but it's not what we want because it's not the good building and not the good color, but we're gonna fix that easily. We're gonna double click on that right here, and we can actually modify the stuff. So we got model 2, 3, and 0. As we don't have text, we don't need a model 2, so we can just get rid of it. Here if we have multiple LOD groups, we're not gonna need this one anymore. And we want to put this one on 3% and this one on 20. Something like that. So right here, what's gonna be on this one should be model 1 and model 0 and number 1. And then on this one, we want to have only the model 0. So when we zoom out, it's gonna change. But now, we want to go back here. We consider the little arrow here. We're gonna click on that, and it's gonna show up what's inside of here. We're gonna click on this and drag this instead. Now, as you can see, the stuff inside modified, which we'll have this one, which we're gonna set as this one. So if you take the one in color, it's not gonna work because it's gonna be an object, and we want to use the mesh, which has no color, right here. So we can take out the mesh right here. Now, it's gonna look weird because the color is not gonna be respected. I used the normal like mapping, so it looks kind of normal, but it's still not the best. So I'm just gonna put a texture on it, so everything is fine. Now we can see that both of these are correct. This right here is not gonna be good, so we're gonna replace it by the model 0 right here, so it fits in here. And that should be all. So now if we go right here, we can recalculate the bounds, and if we zoom enough, the frames are gonna disappear and reappear for performances issues. Now we want to make sure it's layered correctly. So right here, for example, I already made these files right here for when we're gonna bundle it. So I'm gonna make it medium there. So let's put it on medium then. And yes, change. So now we gotta set both of these on medium too. And that should be enough. Now we still have more stuff to do. We have the navigation to do the slots. We're gonna do the skybox first, which is the model right here. That we're gonna grab right here and put our skybox model as well as our texture on it, like that. So on the skybox model, there's no face under it because it's not really needed, but the rest is there. And there's the autosave features. So as we are editing the prefab, if you see the blue background here, that's mean we're in prefab editing modes. So it's gonna autosave. We don't have to drag it in the hierarchy. So all of these right here are technically useless to us, so we can just delete them. Now, if we go back in here, this and this are done. We can just change this right here on medium 2. And we're gonna put the model on medium 2. Now, what we can edit is the clip. So basically, it's just gonna be the model. So now we want to grab the model and then 0. And then we could look in the list for hours, but it's gonna be long. So we can just go back there and put it back on here. And that's good. Now it's saved. All good. Just want to make sure it's on medium. Then we can get back in here, do the nav, so it's the same thing. You can do like the little thing here, the ramps, to make it easier for the zombies to get inside of the building, but it's not like an requirement. So you can just use what you use here. It does the same job. And then the last one will be the slots. So for this one, you need to use the hierarchy because it doesn't work otherwise, because you have to place it properly. So let's just reach the position of both of these right here. So now you want to place these rectangles in the frames, so you gotta make sure they're placed properly. So if we just unpack it, only gonna need one of each of these, so we can delete those. So make sure everything is on the logic right here. So we can take the slot, which is the window, we can go in isometric view and go right over here. We could rotate it like that and go in this view right here and drag it over this, and then edit the collider and drag it in the window so it perfectly fits it. Now as you can see, it's on the wrong side, so let's go back on the z-axis and place it properly. So make sure you can zoom in enough so you can see through the wall the frame placed properly in the middle. Then you can do the same thing for the door, so we can just rotate it like that, and it's a bit too much. Perfect. And now we can go right over here and place it right above, and then here we can place it in and zoom in and do the same thing, make it about centered. And now same thing for the gate, which is almost placed correctly, just needs a bit more precision placing. Sometimes you gotta zoom in a lot, so we doesn't want to work on this side right here. Let's do it the other side then. And there we go. Now we still have the top here and the ladder. The problem is we don't have the example for these ones. So what we can create right here is we can just create an empty and then reset this position. Make sure it's in the slots tab. You can rename it over here to hatch right here and put it on the logic layer, which is somewhere in the list here. Logic, it's about on the top. And we're gonna add a component here, which is the box collider, and we want to make it 0 over here and then 2 by 2. Oh, whoops. Now it should already be centered, so I can just drag it up like that. Just zoom in, make sure it's in the thing. It's about right. If we're on top, it's perfectly placed. So that's it. Now you can place an edge like right in the middle here. Now, what about the ladder? That's the trick part here. It's called climb. And then you're gonna might be saying, oh, it's easy. You add a box collider, put it in the logic tab. Well, it's not that simple. You go right here, you place that on logic, and you place this one on the TransparentFX, which I don't know why it's like that, but it is like that. And then you add a box collider, which should be 0, not on this side though, 0 over here, and then here that should be 1.5. That's the height. It's 4.25, and then 1.5 over here. And now you've got a proper ladder. Now we can just make it fit in like this, about here in the middle. Now it looks weird on top. Let's just drag it on the side here. Make it perfect. So normally what you would want to do next would be to do copy and paste it 3 more times to make it on each side of this, but for the reason of this tutorial, I'm not gonna do it because we know how to do it. Now what we can do is click on this one. This one's useless now because we got the one in the hierarchy, so we can just delete it. We can minimize this one and just drag it in here to remake it. Then we can delete both of those. We can save this. If this is not open for you, so if I close that by accident, we can go right here, window, unturned, and then bundle tool and drag it back in here. Now I'm gonna go back and click on the folder, so it's highlighted in blue, and then I click grab on the bundle tool. So now it's gonna select everything in here and it's gonna bundle it. Now I'm gonna click bundle YouTube right here, but I don't want to bundle it in a folder, then have to modify it and all that. So what I'm gonna do is go directly in the Unturned folder that you can pin if you're on Windows. I don't know how it works on Apple and stuff, but you can go into bundles and then objects right here. I've got my test folder here, so you can just put it in there. So if we look right here, the files I have set up here are in the test, so we can just save that right here. So now it's gonna create up everything, and it's gonna put a notice right here in the console. Boom, right here. Successfully built bundles for YouTube. So now if I open this right here, we've got everything here. We've got a English, YouTube, and this. If you want these files right here, you can just go in object, go for the first one, copy these, then just paste them in here and edit them. Make sure the name of the folder. So right here, quick example. If I had this right here, see, I have the English, but like if this one wasn't there and I had this right here, this and this folder, it wouldn't work. You need to have everything named the same, so the dat here, the Unity 3D, and the folder. So for example right here, this wouldn't work. So now I can go right here and rename it to make sure. So you make sure everything's on the same name. Now if I open this right here, it wouldn't work either. So normally there's a GUID line like that with a bunch of stuff in here, but you can actually just remove it, because if it's not there, the game's gonna create it. But now you wanna put an ID that's above 2000 and below 64,000 first. Oops. And then that will be good. As we're not using a master bundle, we have to add a line right here, which is called exclude from master bundle, which is going to be in the description. So I took a random ID. Hopefully it's not taken by anything else, but like that. So when I'm going to launch Unturned, it's going to create another line that's called QID. And then in English, I called it, that's the name you're going to see the building in the map editor. So I've called it YouTube tutorial for mine. So now, time to just run Unturned. Go right over here, play, and I'll see you when the game is up. So the game just finished loading up, so now I can go in the workshop tab, the editor, and load my YouTube map. So right over here in the object section, I can search up for YouTube right here, and then take the YouTube tutorial building, and it's gonna put it right here. Make sure it's a bit more high up, and move it about here so it fits well. I'm gonna just make the material real quick and the details, even though they're not showing up. And I can just save this and load on the YouTube board. Make sure everything's off. Right over here, so we can buy basically everything in here. Not the ladder though. I'm just gonna have to give one to myself. Oh, whoopsies. So you can see we can place everything up. We cannot see the roof here, but it's not a problem. It's just The model is a problem here, but see, we can place everything in here. So if I give myself the good amount right here, should be able to craft a ladder. Oh, we need a crafting tree. Alright, perfect. And there we go. Let's get a ladder. See, we can place right here. It's snapping here. I can go up. Everything's fine. So as you can see, everything's made properly. And if we go far enough, it's gonna disappear. So if we drive off this, so we're gonna see eventually the frame just disappeared, and after a certain moment, oh whoopsies, everything is gonna disappear and turn into something else. So if we go far enough right here, it's gonna just disappear. Yeah, it's gonna show the skybox. So that's basically it for the tutorial right here. So hope you find it helpful. So see you guys in the next video.